Hi friends, Christy with Little Roots Ranch, and today we're going to do a full garden tour, starting with something that's really exciting for me, which is the farm stand. And so Joy has been working really hard in getting it built. We've got almost all the walls done, and I'm so excited for it to get completed and be open. Here are some dahlias. They're in pots that I'm going to put around the farm stand once everything is up, and then just to look beautiful, and I love dahlias. Here is the large apple tree. I actually don't know what kind of apples these are. They've been small historically, but I don't know if they're crab apples or if they are just not living up to their full potential. But then next I'm going to take you over to the where I have some of my garlic, which I have some radishes interplanted. But this is the garlic. I already snipped off the scapes, as you can tell, and they're starting to die down at the bottom, which is great because that means in like probably 2 weeks it's going to be ready for harvest, which is really exciting. Over here is just more garlic. Also, you notice the house in the background, just painted it, so really excited about that. It looks so much better. Over here I've got more garlic. I still need to trim the scapes from here. This is experimental patch that I put a little closer together, so that way I could see if it makes a difference or not. And I can tell a little bit that the more space it has, the larger the stems are, but the bulbs will be, of course, the ultimate determination. And then here I've got some carrots that went to seed. This wasn't intentional, but with our spring and our really cold winter, it just a byproduct, I guess. Over here I've got some more carrots that are, actually I think they should be ready pretty soon, so that's really exciting. And then here, this is one of my favorite things. I know in other videos I've talked about having a patch of carrots and or parsnips that go to seed because this is what the flowers look like, but see how they're flat? It's really good for beneficial, like predatory insects. They like to stay up there and then swoop down to get slugs or whatever. But so these are what carrot flowers look like. Carrots are biannual, so they flower the second year. These ones were planted first week of December, and then of course are in flower now. I think they would have been more likely to be regular carrots if it wasn't so cold. And then these back here, so tall, the yellow ones, these are parsnip flowers, and of course they're taller than me. But yeah, same thing, they were planted the same time and they look so beautiful. The bees like visiting that. So then we're gonna come over here, and I've been so busy, so everything's like everywhere, and you know how it is. But in this area up here, that back patch, I'm gonna have to tarp, and the farm stand will be up there. Eventually I want to do this whole area as a large flower garden. Just not yet, I need more time. But I have planted some bulbs and stuff, lilies and whatnot, peonies and stuff, and so I'm waiting for those to come up. And then here I've got some red Russian kale that the slugs have ravaged, but now they're starting to leave it alone. I've got some dinosaur kale behind that, and that's in that row. This row I had some Hackeri turnips and radishes. They already came out. I put some flowers there, and then I've got calibration, which is a baby kale mix. It's a bunch of different types of kale. And then after that I've got daikon radishes. And then same thing here, I had crops in the beginning, but I've switched those over to flowers. And then of course I've got, you can see the cabbage, and this whole next row is cabbage with some leeks I left to go to seed, because I just love the seeds, you know. Going back to over there, that big tall yellow thing, those are more parsnips that went to seed. So let's see here, my little garden center. If If you remember from my earlier video, these are the soil blocks with the fall brassicas. What is it? Cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, I think maybe 2 types of cabbage and a broccoli. And then I've got my mini lavender farm here. My 3 little plants because I just love the smell of lavender. This is a dogwood in honor of my dog that passed away a couple years ago. And then in this row, I've got kind of a bunch of different things. This is celery that was kind of neglected, and it was just transplanted. And then I've also got, here are rhubarb. And then growing along the sides are Swiss chard. And that goes all the way down. And then at the very end, I've got some kale. And then I always have nasturtium and borage that comes through. And so that's what you see kind of in this pathway, which is really beautiful because the bees really love it and it just adds some color to the garden. So I pick out a lot of it that comes up and then leave a little bit just because it's beautiful. Here I've got a row and a half of onions, and I grow a purple onion, Patterson storage onion, and Walla Walla sweet onion. I don't have anything in this front yet. Forget what I had there. And then I've got some green onions and then all my beets behind it, and that's in that row. And then here I've got some carrots and then some orach, which is the purple stuff that you see. It's really good. And then parsnips down at the end there. And in this row, I've got nothing but sadness. So this row I've tried so many times and I don't know what's going on. It just refuses to grow for me. But originally it was carrots and that wasn't growing too well. So I planted a bunch of stuff. Oh, it was like red Russian kale, sunflowers, corn. I basically took a lot of seeds and just ran the seeder through it several times. And not too much is happening. You can see some sunflowers poking up. And then in the middle where you see that green, those are actually volunteer tomatoes because I had my tomatoes in these 2 rows last year. And then this last row is about to get pulled out. Half of it's weeds, but I also have garlic, but I'm going to be putting pumpkins and corn in there. So hopefully it fares better than this row because, I don't know, this row's just been the Black Death row and like nothing grows. Like nothing. I put 5,000 carrot seeds in here and not a single one. It's been really interesting. But we'll go back. I have many different garden areas. The front is by the house, and so I call that the people garden because it's next to where the people live. And then I've got a garden next to the sheep, and I call that the sheep garden. And then a garden next to the pigs, call that the pig garden. And then next to the chickens, which is the chicken garden. And then we're passing by the turkeys. So, hi boys. Oh, they're not gonna do it? They're all weirded out. Why are you guys so quiet? Yeah. Anyways, this is the walk-in. Finally got it up. I don't want to talk about how long it took to get it actually up. And eventually the wash pack station will be in the front. We're gonna put a big cover over it, but again, always just short on that time. So we'll go back here. The sheep actually aren't here. They're at a friend's house because they have a lot more grass than we. Sorry about that, my phone died. Anyways, I was talking about the sheep. The sheep are with a friend because they have a lot more grass pasture than we do. And so it was just a better decision for the sheep. Oh, now my turkeys are talking. Hi boys. They're never silent. Anyways, so this is the chicken garden because the chickens are right next to it. Hi, they're all ready to say hi. Hi. But originally all this was taken down and I was gonna fill all of these beds, but as all of you know, this spring was crazy. There's a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and a lot of cold wetness, and so the tractor wouldn't get in here, and so it's half completed. Story of my life. But I do have 3 rows in here, and so this row right here I've got all my lettuce. I have some greens that are going to seed. much like everything. And then the rest of the lettuce is on the other side. In this row, right here, the middle row, I have all of my purple potatoes. And I actually, if you come close, I've actually got, these are chickpeas, or that's a weed, or garbanzo bean. So I'm trying chickpeas this year, and I've got them all. Here's some more right here, and you can see a line of them right there. And so those are interplanted with the potatoes. So over here, I've got all of my not all of my tomatoes, a portion of my tomatoes, mostly determinate, as well as lettuce. A lot of this lettuce is bolting. We just coming off that mini heat wave we had. And I've got head lettuce down at the end. A lot of it has been harvested or is getting towards its end. Excuse me. So I'll take you over to the sheep garden, and then we'll do the pig garden, and then we'll do the greenhouse. Even though we don't have the sheep, still call it the sheep garden because it's just easier to keep track of. So the sheep garden, I obviously need to mow all this stuff and catch up, and it's just been such a rough year. But anyways, here I need to do some weeding clearly. But I've got in the front is some winter squash. This is in the first row, and then in the second row, which is still in the same one because it's a double bed, I've got my cucumbers, which my outside cucumbers aren't doing as well as my in the greenhouse cucumbers, makes sense. And then in the next one, let me switch spots. Right here, I've got all kinds of stuff, some radishes, couple rows of carrots, pole beans, random ferns that are growing in there. And then this last row, I need to come through and weed it mostly, but I do have, I planted a whole line of dahlias, different colors. And so that's what I've got going on. I still need to finish that row and do a little bit more. But there's so much to get done. Back there is the berry patch, and it's really out of control. And the reason for that is that I didn't do a great job of keeping up on the weeds, and it's been completely overgrown by blackberries. And it's hard because what I have growing there are other berries, and so it's kind of hard to tell one from another. But this is what it looks like. I'll get a handle on it at some point, but right now it's really embarrassing, so don't look at that too long. Then over here I've got the pig garden, because the pigs are back there in the forest. You can't see them, but they're there. And so here I've got spinach that has gone to seed, corn, popcorn. No, I think actually it's regular corn. You know what, I need to check my notes. And then some Asian greens that have gone to seed. I slowly pull, when my stuff goes to seed, I slowly pull it and feed it to the pigs. So I'm a little bit behind. I think I'm just gonna need to pull it and put it in the compost because I need the room. In this row here, I've got bush beans and popcorn, which is exciting. In this row here, I've got zucchini, summer squash, as well as lettuce. And then as far as my biggest fail thus far is this area here. The grass started coming in, and I tried to keep on top of it, and so once I realized it was getting ahead of me, I just gave up. And so I'm gonna bring the weed. Sorry, it's almost the 4th of July, so you'll hear fireworks in the background. But I'm just gonna mow it and tarp it. The rest of the garden was okay, but just that area in particular, just the grass was too much to hold back. You might be able to hear the pigs. And then yeah, this is some katsusuma. Then I've got some cauliflowers back there. That's all bok choy that went to seed. Pretty much everything over here has gone to seed. There was some broccoli, the sweet stem broccoli, which is you grow for the I can't talk. The side branches, and you can see them kind of popping out. So I'm really excited I'll put that in our CSA. And then I've got some mustards and stuff over there that went to seed. Really, it's just unruly. I need to get to it. I've got my rhubarbs all along there, and I need to clear that area up, which is why I haven't done a tour, because it just looks so terrible. And then I realized you know what, it is what it is, you know. It's hard to keep up on stuff, so that's okay. So work in progress, or progress. Here I've got my beans, or peas I should say, well, fava beans, which these are spring planted, and they're actually doing really well. They're like 5-6 inches long. And then I've got shelling peas and snow peas. Stop. Snow peas and shelling peas and snap peas back there. So we'll go into the greenhouse. I need to mow so bad. If you're behind on mowing and weeding, don't feel bad. Okay. Welcome to the greenhouse. Let's see here. So starting on this end, I've got, these are daikon radishes, intercrop. Those will be coming out with the CSA, the farm subscription I sell to my local community, which will give more room to the tomatoes. And these are all of the indeterminate tomatoes. And then this next row, these are all my cherry tomatoes, and they're interplanted with Hackerai turnips. Oh, also I've got some basil in there. Can't really see it because I'm late at transplanting that. Then in this row, or double row I should say, those ones were single rows, I've got my determinate tomatoes, and then also some purple globe turnips, and I've got cucumbers, a couple different kinds, and I've got some carrots, and then a little bit of basil. And I'm really starting to get a lot of flowers. Like, come look at all these flowers that these determinates are putting out. Like, just look at that. You can't even really see the cages, but it's just tons of flowers. And so I'm really excited for those to go ahead and put up. So then this next row here, I've got all of my peppers. And I'm starting to get teeny tiny little peppers. I can see them, but I want the plants to get a little bit bigger, but obviously this year's been bad. Then I've got one, I planted, so this is where I had my early Hackerai turnips and radishes. And so I planted basil here. And then my one Sol Tomatillo plant, because I had a whole flat of them and I forgot to water the flat. And they're kind of over in the disaster zone. Go ahead and pan over to the embarrassment zone. And so those are everybody I meant to get in the ground and didn't. Okay, you can come back. And then right there in the middle, those are all the strawberries. Obviously I've got runners like crazy. I need to get on top of that because I want them to get back in the business of producing strawberries. These are the Albanon strawberries, which are ever-bearing. And then on the very end, I've got, those were early peas, and then some thistle I need to get rid of. And then all along there, there's grass growing in from outside of the greenhouse, which only happened once we started rolling that side up, because that was the last side. But yeah, we did. But anyways, those are all eggplants. And then you can come see, I don't know if there'll be any snakes. Probably not. I was going to show you the garter snake house, garden snake house, or garter snake. I always say that wrong. But anyway, so this is a tour of the farm that we have going on so far, or at least a quick tour. I'm definitely more behind than I planned, for sure, and that's okay. I had my ankle where like I couldn't walk for a week, and then I had that like severe vertigo, and then I had like that flesh-eating virus or disease or whatever on my arm. And it's just been, it's been a lot, you know. And so, and I was trying to grow a lot, and the spring was just not conducive. So that's okay. It is what it is. Next year's videos are definitely going to be more polished, but this year is what it is. So I wanted to share it with you however it is. I'd love to hear how your gardens are coming along. And thank you for watching, and happy gardening. Bye.